Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today's video, we're going to talk Start Collecting Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and today's video, we're going to look at the Vanguard Sylvaneth box set, but we're going to look at this box set and how to start a force for the current season of Warhammer Age of Sigmar in Andtor. Now, this season focuses upon wizards, especially the little wizards on the tabletop, so we're going to take a look at a few of those, but to begin with, we'll look at the contents of this box set, talk about how the different units can be built, what the options are within the kits, because there's quite a few in this particular box set. We'll then take a look at some other units we can use to expand upon this initial purchase, and then finally finish off the video with a little sample army list of 1,000 points for you to use as some inspiration for starting your own Sylvaneth army for Warhammer Age of Sigmar in Andtor. And so, to begin with, first of all, this box set is led by one of such small wizards, a Branch Witch. Now, this is one of a couple of different options we have for the Sylvaneth that can become Andorian locuses, which is the special sort of thing we get in this particular season. Now, what this does is you've got a 1 cast and 1 unbind wizard. You've got the Fury of the Forest rule, where you add 1 to hit and wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by this unit while they're within 9 inch of any overgrown terrain features or friendly awakened wildwoods. And you've got Unleash Spites, which is a spell that does a nice sort of area effect mortal wound ability. We then have 5 Tree Revenants, which can also be built as Spite Revenants. I would strongly suggest to build the Tree Revenants out of this box set to begin with, as they are a pure battle line option. This will give you more options and more sort of, openness on how you play and what you grab as your next options. While the Spite Revenants can become battle line in particular subfactions, they are, limited to that particular, while the Tree Revenants will always be battle line. Tree Revenants themselves are really solid, 2 wounds each, a 5+ save, but that's not why you're taking them. It is all for the musician who has the way pipes. Now, what these allow you to do is teleport the unit each and every turn. It's allowed to make a teleport move instead of moving normally. This allows it to deploy anywhere on the tabletop more than 9 inch away from enemy units. You do also have Martial Memories, where this unit can receive the all-out attack or all-out defense command once per turn for free, which is really cool. Now, Spite Revenants, the other unit option of the kit, they are a really cheap option, coming in currently at 80 points for 5, 2 wounds, a 5+ save, and you've got 3 attacks at 3s and 3s with no rend and damage 1. Unbridled Malice is their special rule, where the unmodified hit roll for an attack made with their Cruel Talons and Fangs is a 6. The target unit will suffer a mortal wound and the attack sequence will end. Next, we have 3 Kurnoth Hunters, and Kurnoth Hunters actually have 3 different war scrolls, though these are just the different weapon loadouts. In general, 5 wounds each and a 3+ save. You have the option for the Kurnoth Greatbows, which are going to provide you with 2 attacks at a 30-inch range, 4s to hit, 3s to wound, rend 1 and damage 2. You've also got the Envoys of the Everqueen ability with them while this unit is contesting any objectives. Friendly Sylvaneth units wholly within 6 inch of that objective are treated as being wholly within 6 inch of any overgrown terrain feature. Trample underfoot as well allows you to do some mortal wounds in combat. We then have the Kurnoth Greatswords. Now, they are going to have 4 attacks in melee each, 3s and 3s to hit and wound with rend 1 and damage 2. Envoys of the Underqueen and Trample Underfoot, same as the rest. But their big thing is Sundering Strikes, where each unmodified hit roll for an attack made with a Kurnoth Greatsword that is a 6 will do 2 mortal wounds and the attack sequence will end. Lastly, we have the Kurnoth Hunters with Sires. Their big thing is they've got rend -3 and damage 2 on those weapons, and the Tanglethorn Thicket as well. If any enemy unit is finishing a pile-in move within 3 inch of any friendly units with this ability, the enemy unit will suffer a mortal wound after all those pile-ins have finished. Lastly, inside this box set, we have the Tree Lord kit. Now, the Tree Lord can be built as 3 different options. Either the regular Tree Lord, you see pictured here, a Tree Lord Ancient, which is a wizard version, and the Spirit of Durthu, which is a very combat-dedicated character option. Now, the Tree Lord itself is pretty solid, 14 wounds, a 3+ save. And it's also got the Spirit Paths ability, where it's allowed to do some teleports in addition to the rest of the teleports normally allowed by your force. Lash and Tangle means if an attack made with a melee weapon by this unit scores a hit, your opponent can't make any pile-in moves, which is really nice. And the Ground Shaker is a special monstrous rampage that can give your opponent the Strike Last effect. We then have the Tree Lord Ancient, a 1 cast and 1 unbind wizard, which is really fun. Now, you've got the Ground Shaker, Spirit Paths abilities on this as well. Silent Communion allows you to once per game set up a free Sylvaneth Wildwood, and Awakening the Wood is a mortal wound damage dealing spell that will allow you to do some damage based on your opponent being around some awakened Wildwoods. Lastly, the Spirit of Durthu He is going to have quite a decent combat profile. His Guardian Sword is damage 6 at its top bracket, so he can do quite a decent amount of damage. Ground Shaker, Spirit Paths, and the ability Wrathful Guardian allow him to get extra attacks while he's near any Awakened Wildwoods. Today's video is brought to you by Gap Games, a fantastic retailer in Australia for a variety of different miniature war games. If you'd like to help support the channel, we have an affiliate link where by clicking on and purchasing, you'll help support the channel, but you'll also help support Gap Games, which is a fantastic servant to the community. Now, looking at where to go next for the Sylvaneth, I think for me the next place to look is the cheap battle line option we have access to in the Sylvaneth Force. That'll give you two battle line options that are always battle line, no matter what subfaction you're playing. This will allow you to, freely explore the Sylvaneth range going on. And these other Dryads are 1 wound each with a 5+ save, and they've got 2 attacks with a 2-inch range, which is pretty cool. Force to hit, force to wound, no rend, and damage 1. Blessings of the Forest is actually pretty cool. You subtract 1 from hit and wound rolls for attacks that target this unit, while they're wholly within 9 inch of any overgrown or awakened or wildwood features, which is really, really cool. Now, I did mention that the branch witch in the first slide was one of many different wizard options we have available to us, and the Warsong Revenant is the other one that actually can also be an Andorian Locust. Now, there's 7 wounds, 5+ save, so definitely on the upper sort of scale. This model has a decent combat profile for a wizard with Spearing Vines, having 5 attacks, 3s and 3s, Rend 1, damage 2, and another 3 attacks at 4s and 4s, Rend -1, damage 1 with its Spirit Falchion. Now, this model can fly. It's a wizard that can cast and unbind 2 spells per phase, and you've got a 4-up ward save built in thanks to your Arboreal Cloak. Wildwood Revenants allow you to add 1 to casting, dispelling, and unbinding rolls with this model just standard, so long as it's within 9 inch of an Awakened Wildwood or Overgrown Terrain feature. And you've also got Alariel's Song, where you add 1 to the Bravery characteristic of Sylvaneth units while they're wholly within 12 inch of this model, and you subtract 1 from the Bravery characteristic of enemy units while they're wholly within 12 inch of this model. Unleash Swarm of Spites is a spell, and it is once again a nice little mortal wound damage dealing spell. Now, we do have a ton of different wizards available to the Sylvaneth, and I really like the Lady of Vines. 10 wounds and a 3-up save. Now, she is a named character, so this means she cannot be an Andorian Locust. She's got 10 wounds anyway, but she does have the Warmaster ability where she counts as your general, even if you've got other generals. 2 cast and 2 unbind wizard. The Verdian Crown allows you to treat her as an Awakened Wildwood. And Writhing Vines at the start of the combat phase. If an enemy unit is within 3 inch, you can say this unit will create a protective barrier or an ensnare foes. And if this unit creates a protective barrier, she is -1 to hit until the end of the phase, or if she ensnares her foes, she gets +1 to hit against said unit. Now, she does have the Rouse to Wrath, where she can summon some Dryads to battle for free each game. An aspect of the Everqueen is a nice aura effect of a mortal wound, or rather a ward save spell, that will give a 5-up ward to Sylvaneth units that are within range. Now, lastly, we have the Sylvaneth Endless spells, of which they've got enough couple of mix. First of all, we have the Glade Worm, which is probably one of the cooler looking ones. I really love the paint scheme that GW did on this. Whoever ended up painting the studio model for this did a fantastic job, should be said. But Death from Below, after this Endless spell is moved, it can do some mortal wounds, and it can also heal Sylvaneth units, so it's both damage and healing, which is really nice. The Spite Swarm Hive is a straight up buff piece that can give some extra movement, or can worsen the rend characteristic of attacks that target your units, which is really cool. And then you have the Vengeful Skullroot as well, which is some more mortal wound damage, but also helping your opponent's unit flee from the battlefield with an additional D3 models flee if your opponent ever fails Battle Shock near it. And so here we have our Sylvaneth Force. Now, we've gone with the subfaction known as the Nullroot. What Nullroot is going to provide us with is some magical sort of ability. So once per turn, when you make a casting or unbinding roll for a friendly Nullroot wizard that's wholly within 9 inch of any overgrown terrain feature or friendly Awakened Wildwood, you can roll 3d6 instead of 2d6, and if you do, you remove 1 dice of your choice from the roll, and then the remaining dice that you use to cast the spell or make the unbinding roll. Pretty cool stuff. Now, we've got our grand strategy, Spellcasting Savant. This is going to mean our general, which is an Andorian Locust, has to survive the battle. Triumph, Bloodthirsty. A reroll charge is really good for the Sylvaneth if they can get it coming out of those ambushes. And then we've got the Season of War, which is sort of like a additional subfaction of a subfaction. And we've gone for the Dwindling, where in your hero phase we can reroll 1 casting, 1 unbinding, and 1 dispelling roll, so long as the wizard you pick is a Sylvaneth wizard and wholly within 9 inch of an overgrown terrain feature or friendly Awakened Wildwood. Now, Leader-wise, we have our Branch Witch, who will be our general, and this model has chosen to take the command trait, which is going to be Spellsinger. I really like Spellsinger. When this general attempts to cast a spell, they can effectively use a Awakened Wildwood as where they target their range from. We then have the spells on this model, which is going to be Verdant Blessing, and we obviously also have Verdurous Harmony as well. Verdant Blessing is just something that all Sylvaneth wizards will get, but Verdurous Harmony is the additional one we picked where we can do a little bit of healing on our units. We then have a second Branch Witch, and this one is going to be a little bit of a throwaway Branch Witch. So we have gone for Merciless Blizzard on this model, and the idea is this one we could fling forward through some forests, try and set it up early game and get that Merciless Blizzard off. We then have the Tree Lord Ancient. With his big base, I really do like something like Dwellers Below. That's a nice area effect. And then obviously he's got Verdant Blessing as well. Battleline wise, we have 5 Tree Revenants in there, and then we have 10 Dryads as well. And then we've gone with 3 Kurnoth Hunters with Great Bows. We don't have quite enough points to fit in any of the other variations, but I do think this provides us with a nice little bit of shooting we otherwise wouldn't have. Battleline wise, or core battalion wise, we have our Andorian Acolytes, which contains both our Branch Witches. This will allow us, if they're both still on the battlefield, to roll a dice at the top of the turn. On a 3+, we gain an extra primal magic dice, and then everything else is wrapped up inside a battle regiment, making us a 3-drop force, which is pretty solid. If you've got some ideas on how to expand your Sylvaneth force using the Vanguard box set as your core, let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And so, thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more content, and also drop a comment down below letting us know what you thought about the video. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our fun little community, we have a Discord server which is linked down in the video's description, and also linked down in the video's description are the best ways to help support the channel, either by Patreon or YouTube members, or by grabbing yourself some merch from our Teespring store as well. All of those are linked down in the video's description, and a special thank you to our YouTube members and patrons. We'd like to give you all a shout out, so thank you to our YouTube members John Castle, Disco, James Tillman, Monty Tabletop Terrain, Ariana Edwards, Broken Chef, the Johnny84, Lock Lorick, Ronya, Green Roots Gaming, and our patrons Wasarin, Kenny Lyle, Outer and Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Cure Dynamic, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Benjamin Swallows, Redman, Iron Grinch, Colorblind Magic, Grimscold, and Andy C. Thank you all once again, everyone. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now.